Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. At 1:12 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of whispering outside our bedroom. Not TV noise, not soft talking, strategic whispering. Barbara's voice was low but sharp, the kind she used when she wanted something done her way. Another voice answered, her sister Lydia's, dry and steady. "He won't see it coming," Barbara said. "He doesn't have to," Lydia replied. "Just smile. Keep it big and public." I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening. After 25 years of marriage, I could tell the difference between a surprise party whisper and a plotted one. This wasn't about balloons. By morning, Barbara was a whole performance. Hair perfect, bright clothes, smile locked in, pancakes on the table, a candle stuck in the middle. "Happy silver anniversary, Patrick," she said, voice honey-sweet. "Already?" I asked, still half asleep. 25 years, she said. "We need to celebrate properly. Not just dinner. A real event." She slid a brochure across the table. "Big?" I said. "You hate crowds." "Not this time," she said. "It's about appreciation. You've worked hard. You deserve it." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. I'd seen that expression before, when she tried to sell me something she'd already decided I'd buy. "What's the occasion inside the occasion?" I asked. She laughed softly. "Just love, Patrick. Don't be suspicious." She kissed my cheek and went to call the hotel before I could say no. That night, I lay awake again, listening for more hallway whispers. There weren't any. By morning, she'd booked the ballroom and called it our night to remember. I just didn't know whose memory it was going to serve. The next morning started with coffee and numbers. Barbara had already spread papers across the kitchen table, quotes from decorators, catering menus, and a list of sentimental displays. "I want people to see our story," she said, circling a line with her pen. "Photos, ticket stubs, even the deed to our first house. It'll be beautiful." I looked at her over the rim of my mug. "The deed? It's part of our life," she said. "It shows commitment." "It also shows ownership," I replied. "That stays in the safe." She sighed like I was ruining it. "You're so suspicious lately." "I just don't like my paperwork being used for decoration." She tried another tactic, flipping to the budget sheet. "You can handle the costs. You're better with money." "I'll cover what's reasonable," I said. "Room and food. The extras are yours." Her voice turned soft, practiced. "Patrick, this is our 25th anniversary. Don't be cheap." "I'm being careful," I said. "Starting today, my paycheck goes straight to my account. I'll send the house money on the first of every month. That's it." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Since when do we separate money?" "Since now," I said. "It keeps things clear." For a few minutes the kitchen was quiet. She went back to her notes, pretending to plan. I went back to my coffee, pretending to trust. When I got up to leave for work, her phone lit up on the counter. A message preview blinked before she snatched it up. "Papers ready. Notary Friday." She turned the screen down, smiling too wide. "Have a good day, Patrick." I nodded, grabbed my keys, and walked out. By the time I hit the driveway, my gut already knew this celebration wasn't about love. It was about paperwork. At the shop that afternoon, I kept my focus on the sound of tools instead of the noise in my head. My foreman, Rick, was working under a lifted sedan when I told him to lock the back office from now on. "Everything okay, boss?" he asked. "Just tightening a few things," I said. I installed a small camera above the office door and changed the password on my computer. I wasn't expecting burglars. I was expecting curiosity. By noon the next day, Barbara appeared in the doorway with a bakery box and a smile that didn't match the tension in her eyes. "Peace offering," she said. "Cookies. You like lemon, right?" Rick caught my eye, smirked, and quietly stepped out to the garage. Barbara walked around the office, scanning the walls like she was taking inventory. "I'm sorry about yesterday," she said. "I pushed too hard. I just want the anniversary to be perfect." "I get that," I said. She smiled. "Then you'll understand this. For the video montage, I thought it would be nice to show our first mortgage papers. Authenticity, you know?" "Use photos," I said flatly. "But the originals look more real." "So does the truth," I replied. Her mouth tightened. She looked at the desk drawer, the one I'd locked that morning. "When did you start locking things, Patrick?" "When people started reaching for them," I said. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it and leaned closer. "Can I use your printer for 2 minutes? The Wi-Fi at home is acting up." "No," I said. "Rick's printer works fine. Ask him." She held her smile a second too long, then picked up the cookie box. "You've changed." "Maybe I just woke up," I said. After she left, Rick came back in holding a folded piece of paper. "She dropped this." He handed it to me. It wasn't a receipt. It was a handwritten program draft. Anniversary speech, Barbara. Truth and growth. Patrick signs family commitment. Witness, Lydia. Photographer ready. I folded it once, put it in my pocket, and said, "We're adding security to the guest list." Barbara suggested dinner that Friday. Just the two of us. Plus Lydia for company. I already knew that meant I'd be outnumbered. We met at a quiet Italian place downtown. Barbara talked non-stop about the anniversary plans, music, seating, who should speak first. Halfway through the meal, Lydia raised her glass. "To new beginnings," she said. Barbara smiled. "Yes, sometimes 25 years is enough to start fresh." I set my fork down. "Start fresh. How?" Barbara looked straight at me. "By letting go of what doesn't work anymore." Lydia changed the subject fast, asking about the restaurant lighting. Barbara followed her lead, but the slip had already landed. When we got home, she went straight to bed. I stayed up. Something about that phrase, 25 years is enough, sat wrong in my chest. I opened her laptop on the kitchen counter. The password was the same. She wasn't careful. She thought I never checked. The email was right there. Messages with a law office, subject line, draft agreement. Dates went back 6 weeks, right before she proposed the party. I read enough to confirm what I already knew. She planned to file for divorce and use the anniversary as the announcement. She'd already met with a notary, and the family commitment papers were the first draft of a separation agreement. I closed the laptop, wiped the counter, and stared at the ceiling light for a long minute. Then I pulled a small voice recorder from the drawer, one I used for work inspections, and clipped it under the hallway table. The next night, at 11:30, it caught everything. Barbara's voice was calm but rehearsed. "He won't fight it," she said. "It'll look peaceful. No yelling, no scene." Lydia answered, "Good. The public setting helps. People will side with you." I listened to the recording twice. No emotion, just data. By morning, I had a plan. If she wanted a public truth, I'd give her one. But it would be the whole truth, not the version rehearsed behind my back. 2 days before the anniversary, Barbara called me while I was at the shop. Her voice was sweet, softer than it had been in weeks. "Lunch?" she asked. "My treat. No planning talk, I promise." We met at a quiet cafe near the river. She wore the same silver blouse she'd worn the night I proposed. When she leaned over the table, she smiled like we were dating again. "I've been thinking," she said. "Maybe I went overboard. The night's just about love, no surprises." "Good," I said. "I don't like surprises." She reached for my hand. "Promise you'll just relax and enjoy it?" "I'll be there," I said. Her smile flickered, relief mixed with something else. On the way out, she hugged me in front of everyone, like a woman sealing an act. That afternoon, I called my friend Eric, who managed audio and visuals for the hotel where the event would take place. "Eric," I said, "you still owe me for fixing your truck last summer." He laughed. "What do you need?" "A little tech support," I said. "A screen, a thumb drive, and a cue to switch feeds when I nod." He didn't ask why. We'd known each other long enough for that. I went home and started organizing. I printed the deed to our house, dated a year before our wedding. Bank statements, same story. I made a small folder with Barbara's email exchanges with the law firm. Nothing aggressive, just facts. Then I printed the draft family commitment document she'd written. I slipped it into the back pocket of my jacket. Before bed, Barbara came into the room humming, her mood light. "Everything's set," she said. "I even booked the notary early just in case." I looked at her reflection in the mirror. "Just in case what?" She smiled. "You'll see." I nodded, calm. "Yes, I will." When she fell asleep, I transferred the audio recording to a flash drive and placed it beside my wallet. Tomorrow wasn't going to be her show anymore. The ballroom smelled like polished floors and champagne. Silver balloons floated near the ceiling. A slideshow flickered across the screen. Our photos from vacations, old birthdays, the kind of memories that look perfect until you know what's behind them. 100 people filled the room. Friends, employees, family. Everyone was smiling like they were watching a fairy tale. Barbara shimmered in a silver dress. Lydia hovered close, clipboard in hand. The notary stood off to the side, flipping through a folder I already knew too much about. Barbara took the microphone after dinner. 25 years, she began. That's a long time to share life with someone. We've learned, we've grown, and tonight we honor that growth with honesty. My stomach tightened. She glanced toward Lydia, then at the notary. Patrick and I have decided that after 25 wonderful years, it's time to start a new chapter. Tonight, we'll sign our agreement to move forward with mutual respect. A quiet gasp rippled through the room. Some thought it was a joke. Others realized it wasn't. Barbara smiled wider, pretending it was emotional. "This isn't an ending," she said. "It's a celebration of peace." I stood up. Calm. Slow. "Hold on a second," I said. "Before any signing happens, let's make sure everyone understands what this is." She blinked. "Patrick, please, don't make this." "I'm not making anything," I said, taking the mic. "I'm just adding context." I nodded toward Eric at the sound table. He gave a small nod back. The slideshow flickered, then changed. On the screen appeared Barbara's email thread with her attorney, dated 6 weeks before the party invitation went out. Another slide, the family commitment document labeled draft separation. Then a screenshot of a text. "Notary confirmed. He'll sign under pressure." People started whispering. The notary closed his folder. Lydia froze. Barbara's voice shook. "Patrick, stop this." I kept mine steady. "If we're being honest, let's be honest. This wasn't a celebration. It was a setup." I turned back to the guests. "There's no hate here. Just facts. I won't sign anything tonight. I won't perform my marriage in front of a camera crew." Then I handed the mic to the MC. "Let's enjoy dessert," I said, and walked off stage. The next morning, half the town already knew what had happened. My phone buzzed nonstop. Messages from friends, co-workers. Most said the same thing. "I can't believe she did that." Barbara didn't come home that night after the party. By noon the next day, she finally texted me. "I'll stay with Lydia for now. You embarrassed me." I didn't reply. By the end of the week, her lawyer emailed the formal divorce petition, the same one from her anniversary celebration, this time with fresh signatures and a cover letter about irreconcilable differences. I met my own attorney, kept it short. We agreed, no public drama, no back and forth. Everything she'd earned after our wedding, she could keep. Everything from before, the house, the business, the accounts, stayed mine. I didn't fight her request for spousal support. I just drew clean lines. Barbara tried to negotiate through her lawyer for emotional damages, claiming humiliation. My lawyer sent her the event photos, her on stage with the notary. That claim disappeared fast. The divorce hearing lasted less than an hour. She kept her car, the jewelry, and a modest payout. No one yelled, no one cried, just signatures and silence. When it ended, she walked past me in the courthouse hallway. "You could have handled it privately," she said. "So could you," I answered. She looked tired, older than a week ago. Her confidence had cracked. Lydia stood behind her, arms crossed, silent. By the following month, Barbara had moved out of town. Someone said Barbara tried opening a boutique in Clearwater, but it closed after a few weeks. I didn't check. I didn't need to. 3 months later, I woke up in a house that finally felt like mine. The quiet wasn't lonely. It was clean. Business picked up, not because of the scandal, but because people trust calm. They saw how I handled it. No shouting, no gossip. And they wanted that kind of steadiness fixing their cars. Some nights, I'd sit on the porch with a beer and think about how everything had started with a whisper in the hallway. 25 years together, and she chose an audience for goodbye. I used to wonder if I'd missed the signs. Now I knew I just ignored them. Barbara sent one email after the divorce was finalized. "You didn't have to humiliate me," she wrote. I replied once. "You didn't have to ambush me." That was the last time we spoke. I heard Barbara sold her wedding ring to cover some of the losses. I didn't take pleasure in it, but I didn't feel sorry either. On Thursdays, I started meeting a small group at the gym. One of them, Naomi, ran a small catering business. She was sharp, steady, and liked things quiet. We'd grab dinner sometimes, no big promises, no shared accounts. Just two people talking. Once she asked, Do you ever miss her? I shook my head. I miss who I thought she was. People still bring up the anniversary sometimes. Someone at the shop will joke, "You handled that like a pro." I just smile and tell them the truth. I fix what's broken. If it can't be fixed, I take it apart clean. That's what I did with my marriage. I didn't win anything. I just stopped pretending and walked into a life that finally fit. Thank you for watching.